foot rolls. I'm like, oh yeah, do I want to do hot press or cold press today? Let's work with hot press. Yeah, we'll cut off a piece of that. Or I'll pull out a new canvas or a panel or something like that. And it's like, okay, now I know I'm working on canvas. Do I want oils or acrylics?
Decisions.
Which haven't I worked in a while? Yeah, and then I've got like a old digital art area with like a big ass Wacom tablet and like a full scale digital printer. And I don't know. I like jumping between different mediums because I find each one has its own benefits and disadvantages. And it really helps you get that desired effect if you're looking to achieve a certain thing. I have yet to find any specific medium that will allow me to create and achieve the effects and the looks that I'm really going for, whether it's oils, which are extremely versatile. We'll give them that. Whether it's oils or acrylics or watercolors, colored pencils, digital media, they all have different specific kind of looks. And I haven't yet found that any one of them can create all of the different effects that I'm looking for. So sometimes I like to just bounce around. I'll start out with something in digital, then I'll paint it in analog. Sometimes I'll start out in analog and then I'll scan it and I'll work on it in digital. So I do like to bounce around and work in a lot of different mediums just to get that nice, well-rounded kind of look to it. So.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to start getting into more. I mean, quite honestly, I don't do any outside of tattooing art anymore. I haven't in a long time. I just did that saw recently. I was talking about that. That was the first thing I've done in a very long time. And it's messed up. You lose it if you don't use it, right? Like, and the love for art comes from doing it all the time and getting all caught up and just, oh, I got to draw for tattoos. I got to get this ready. I got to get this ready. You forget how much you enjoy doing it until you get back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's something that I've found in the past few years. I started to block out specific time blocks throughout my week just to work on artwork that I wanted to create.
Yeah.
And it completely changed the way that I view things because it's no longer just like a job, right? Yes, it is a job. Yes, this is how we make money. It's how we put a roof over our head and food on our table. I get that. But we shouldn't be dreading doing it. And we should be able to go through and do artwork that we want to do as well. And that might be artwork that's outside of drawing for tattoos and getting our line drawings together for the next couple of days or the next week, or creating fully rendered digital paintings to show someone what a color scheme might look like. If we don't sit down and get to do the artwork that we want to do, we start to lose our passion for it after a while.
Absolutely.
So I make it a point that every Sunday evening I spend at least 3 to 4 hours just working on something that I want to work on. Something that I know I need to work on, especially like anatomy. Anatomy has always been my weak point. Sitting down, drawing from life, drawing from a model, drawing from, looking at a picture and saying, okay, how can I get that curve of that head with that proportions? When you draw something over and over and over again, you start to get that muscle memory down. And it's something that I never bothered to do in the past 10 to 15 years after I got out of art school. It never occurred to me to really keep that going so that I could remember how to do it. So my thing now is to go through, and I know that there are certain things I need to work on, so I make sure I work on them. But it's also cool because I get to paint on whatever I want to paint on. If I want to work in watercolor, I'll cut off a piece of paper and paint on it. If I want to work in oils and I want to sit down and get back into that, which I just been working on my first 2 oil paintings since college. I think this one's pretty dry to the touch now. Still have like another glaze or 2 to do to it, but
oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Texture.
Yeah, it was just really trying. I still have another like texture glaze to do for some more cracks and pits and bumps. But this is the first oil painting that I've done since college. And I remember now why I hated it, but also why I absolutely loved it. And then I started to work on something floral as well, because just to balance it out, you know,
Very
nothing crazy, nothing fancy, but I did really like the variations and the small subtle color shifts in a peony. So I was like, yeah, I'll go through and I'll paint a peony. Yeah, that'll be fun. That should occupy a little bit of my mind. And I mean, they're not very big. They're, 6 by 12.
Mhm.
I wanted to start small just because it's better to start small and get it down pat and then go bigger. Because once you like, it's like riding a bike, take a spin around the block before you decide to go on a 15-mile bike ride.
Right.
Make sure you remember how to ride that bike first. So, it's something that I've enjoyed doing. I've since moved on to 12 by 24 of another skull that I'm actually doing. When I get finished, I might actually even mail it to Bob and just
Yeah.
say thank you for the seminar.
Oh
Just as
yeah.
like he wanted the fish painting that I was working on while I was there, but I was like, this isn't done yet, man. Like I can't give this to you now. I'm like, when it's done, I'll mail it to you. Maybe we can do like an art trade or something. Um, but it was a good time. You
That's
know, it also allows us to work on different styles and explore different things, right? Like I'm not a very photorealism kind of person. I prefer more stylized, more like neo-trad, or even closer towards the traditional style, a lot of Japanese influence. So I always like to try to get out of my comfort zone when it comes down to painting and drawing. But I don't necessarily do that with tattoos yet because I just lack the self-confidence. I know, bad Jason shouldn't
yeah.
do that. But I mean, you're definitely, Elaine, you're more of a photorealist. And that to me is impressive. Seeing what you can accomplish at such a small scale is just impressive. So maybe I'm trying to chase that a little bit more. But at the same time, it's like, I'd love to see you do something Japanese.
Oh, well, that's exactly it. Is your brain works one way naturally, right? You're like, I see this and this just makes sense. Everything just works. Using photorealism as an example for that, everything is just a shape and you're just mimicking those shapes and there's no room for like, oh, I have to be adding this or I have to do this. Like it's just it is what it is. And my brain loves that. When there's any sense of like illustrative stuff, the only thing I ever really get into is floral stuff because it's organic and it's natural and it can be whatever it needs to be. There's no rules. But when there's rules involved, yeah, I don't know how you do what you do, that's for sure. Like and you master it too. It's amazing. All the things that you create and come up with and put together and then just execute so well. It's so impressive. I can't wrap my brain around any of the stuff that Jesse Smith does, any stuff that you do, anything that's outside of realism. It's always very like, wow, that's so crazy that you can come up with these things. That's so cool.
Yeah,
It's
I think one of the key things that I had to learn when I really started to get into, completely original, like, okay, I want to sit down and draw this,
awesome.
right? Whether it's a dragon or whether it's, a koi fish or whether it's a skull or whatever. The one thing I always keep going back to and asking myself all of the time is, where is my light source? And if you look at Jesse Smith or Nick Mitchell, look at anyone out there that creates these completely original, look at Medusa. I mean, and the stuff that I saw her create was like mind boggling, and it was completely original, didn't come from anywhere, it came from her head. And they all have very distinctive light source. And that's what helps create those subtle color shifts and values and tones. It's what creates those drop shadows. It's what creates all of that texture that you really want to see in that. And I think a lot of that just comes down to understanding the use of light, and the use of form and how light creates form and volume in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Where your shadow is going to be and your terminator line for where things are going to curve is going to ultimately determine how much volume that shape has. You know, so you're still looking at shapes, but it's the construction of those shapes and the underlying construction of those shapes that really determines how are things going to look. You know, like understanding the planes of the face and how certain people have more profound planes. Certain people have, you know, planes that are just in a little bit of a different area or with a little bit of a different slope to them. Can really, once you understand that like background, and that's what I've been trying to wrap my mind around, is okay, if I have cheeks that are sloping in like this, I know I need to create this plane here for the front of the cheek. I know that there's another plane that goes up diagonally like this. I know that that levels out and you create another plane with the base of the eye. The cheek plane may come down, but it's coming down at an inward curve. You know, then you have the jaw plane that's coming down at a different angle, but that's also bisected by a separate plane. Then you have a flat plane underneath the chin. You know, so there's, when you break things down into individual planes, you understand that construction. Once you grasp that, you can create whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Looks like we've got one other person joining us today. Is that Gabe? Reinventing the Tattoo has joined us. Hello, can you hear us? Okay, well, if you want to jump in, cool. If not, we're just gonna keep going.
On the topic of the planes of the face thing, I have been binging YouTube tutorials about planes of the face and trying so hard to find something that is a little bit more simplified. Like I need a tutorial where somebody is talking to me like I'm 5.
Oh, pick me, pick me, pick me. I got this. All right, so about a year ago, I was hanging out with my friend Dante, who works up at Red Tree. He was staying with me for a little while, and I'm going to bring this up just as like a quick little preview. Mike DeVries actually put out a book not too long ago. Let me switch my input. Called Mastering Realism. Okay. Highly recommend anyone out there that does realistic work of any type. I highly recommend you pick this book up. Once again, it's written by Mike DeVries and Lanny Markaski, and it's specific drawing techniques for tattoo artists. It's specifically marketed that way. Okay, it is awesome. I'm going to give you guys, it's done by Memento Publishing, so you can always find it that way. And I took it and I scanned it after I purchased it because I would prefer to have a digital version of it as opposed to like a physical version. My physical version sits in my like bookcase archive where, you know, nothing ever really leaves that archive. I have a first edition of Reinventing the Tattoo, a second edition of Reinventing the Tattoo, the accompanying DVDs. I've got signed books by Philippe Liu. I've got books by Bill Canales, Phibbs, all different types of guys. But that's like my library, right? That's my sacred library. That's all of my sacred texts. So this stays in there as well, but I wanted something I could take with me. And it goes through and it talks about all of these different things like planes of the face, contour lines, you know, going through and creating certain illusions like suggested line, which is really important with a lot of different things. You know, going through, taking a photograph, breaking it down, looking at where those hard shadows are and how the flow of the face is there. Perspective. There's a whole chapter on perspective. And like I said, I'm just flipping through this real quick. In fact, I should probably just go through and do thumbnails. But as you can see, it breaks things down and really makes things very easy to understand. Then you get into transparency and the illusion of transparency. He does talk a little bit about color and value of color, but not very much. Proportions and, you know, breaking down and demystifying all of these classical masters. You know, very highly informative. Highly recommend you pick it up. Once again, it's called Mastering Realism by Mike DeVries. I think it's $100 or $120 on his like store. Highly recommend you take a look at that and pick that up. It is absolutely priceless.
Do you know if it's available as a digital book? I'm trying to lower my physical mountain of possessions.
As it stands now, I do not believe it is offered up as a digital version. I'm pretty sure it's still only, yeah, let me send that out. I'm pretty sure it's still only in physical. But it is definitely available as far as I'm aware. I don't think it went out of print. I don't foresee him selling out of it. But I mean, once again, just to give you guys an idea, this is my iBooks, right? And I have got Art Nouveau and model references and anatomy references, and, you know, cutting edge anatomy and mastering realism, drawing people, drawing hands, figure drawing, you know, drawing Japanese stuff.
I see so many book titles that I also have. I'm like, let's sit and nerd out about our books.
Yo, I can nerd out about books all day long. This is also another book. If you like illustrative tattoos, I highly recommend. It's called The Art of Comic Book Inking by Gary Martin. This book transformed my entire life when it came down to working with different line weights. It blew my mind how you can take line, and by using line alone, you can create specific volume, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I was getting tattooed the other day by one of my friends, and he was telling me about how you can redirect the point of view simply with line weight.
Yep.
Like your entire drawing can be flat and you can just adjust the line weights and it alters everything.
You can create a sense of perspective. You can create a sense of volume. You can create a sense of light, all by using solid black lines. You know, and that to me is something that I really try to focus on, just because I know that solid black lines do hold up very well in the long run. And that's something that I always try to work on, is like looking at longevity. So it's just something that I found to be very, very useful.
Right now, as far as tattooing, I'm trying to practice lines and edges, making edges instead of lines. Oh God, that's a pain. It's a pain if you're a newbie like me. I'm only like 1.5 years of tattooing right now.
Yeah, well, there's line, and then there's also negative line, which is kind of a phrase I think I termed, but I find that negative line can also have just as much of an impact, creating that separation between two dark edges, or a dark edge and a shadow, going through and just creating and leaving that tiny little skin break, you know, that almost looks like there's nothing there. Or maybe doing some ambient inclusion where you take the ambient color and you sweep that into that little skin break, can have an incredible amount of effect when it comes down to separating objects. But that's getting into a whole different topic.
Yeah, I am really interested in this book by Mike DeVries. When you described it, I was recalling the seminar or the workshop seminar thing I took at BYOB with him, which was incredible by itself. But yeah, you really described that very well. I think you should be the spokesperson on the infomercial, because
What, the infomercial that runs at 3 a.m. when the only people still awake are tattoo artists?
yeah. Yeah, of course, because you sold it. You sold it so well to me. I'm fidgeting through my budget and being like, all right, I'm gonna buy this.
Yeah, it's not very expensive. And for the amount of information and how condensed and simplified it makes understanding that information, absolutely priceless, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely that the price you named was definitely something that sounds really, really reasonable for the amount of information included, especially by somebody who has so many years of experience. Like, you're learning not from somebody who's just repeating what the curriculum says to them. You're learning from someone who has been through everything. So yeah, that price is perfect. And didn't he also do a really similar seminar a few years ago?
So he's been doing seminars and putting out books for a very long time. He put out a book probably in the early 2000s called Let's Be Realistic. And that was like my holy grail of books at one point in time. But it went through some of the same things. But as he went through and really developed things and really started to develop, techniques and really break things down even further, I think that's why he put out this second book. And it really did the job for me to help understand like how things break down on a face. And like I said, once you understand that, you can create whatever you want. You can create any person in any kind of a perspective, because he does go through drawing the head at different perspectives and looking at it as more or less a set of like boxes or cubes, right? So if you're thinking about, how to shade a cube and how to shade a box, because that's fundamental of drawing, right? So if you know how to do that, theoretically speaking, you can shade a whole face and you can create those values. It might seem daunting and it might seem different, but I mean, when you boil everything down, it boils down to, can you shade a sphere and can you shade a cube? At least that's the way I break everything down. Then you get into people like shading hexagons and pyramids and dodecahedrons and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how your mind works. But that's me. Sorry for cutting you off, by the way.
Oh, no worries. I was just thinking, when you were talking about shading in a sphere and shading in a cube, I was reflecting on one of the talks at one of the panels at BYOB when everybody was talking about going back to your fundamentals. Mm-hmm. And just being like, oh my God, yeah, I did that in high school, but I am in my mid-30s now, so I have to go back and shade a sphere and shade a cube so that I can remember what the hell I'm doing. Sometimes, like, it's been so while, I skipped ahead, or I thought I needed to skip ahead because I already did that before. Now I'm all like, maybe I need to go back and practice that.
It's one thing I started doing a while back, and it was life-altering. I was like, wow, it's a good thing I'm doing this because I really needed to remember this.
Oh, I'm gonna shade a sphere right now.
Hell yeah. Then you got Elaine over there like, I know that.
No,
really good at that.
I don't. I am really one of those people that needs to get back into all the fundamentals, because I did not do any sort of art school. All I had was high school. So that, I think I cheated myself out of learning some very important skills to then be able to feel comfortable just creating my own art whenever I want to. Without a prompt, I struggle, that's why I enjoy tattooing, because I always have a prompt. Someone's always telling me what they want.
So that's one of the other things that I love about tattooing. I never have to decide on what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And I love that.
Me too.
Because it's like when you're presented and you can execute anything, when you have all of these options available, how do you choose?
Yep, that's it.
What is Kyle working on? Kyle's over there being quiet with some freaking birds. Is he putting
Looks
a
like
bird?
he's working on last Monday's homework.
Yeah, I just now got a chance to start doing it. So doing a little Phoenix design.
Right on, man. And we got Gerardo with us. What's going on, man?
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Everything's good, man.
That's what's up. That's what I love to hear.
Yeah, just working on this. Remember the snake we did for the cover up?
I do.
exercise? So yeah, so I'm doing a painting of it, and
Very nice.
I'm using. I remember I saw one of your streams where you said you were working with old expired inks.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying, man. I really love them.
Dude, it's amazing. You know, you would never really think that, hey, I can paint with this. This is tattoo ink. Like,
Yeah.
why have I not done this before? It is awesome as a medium. It is
Oh my-
great.
They look really nice, really vibrant.
I just realized I threw away, I just moved to a new place, and during that process, I threw away like maybe 15 to 16-year-old expired mom's inks from my very first apprenticeship. And now I really wish I could dig in the trash and get those back.
Yeah, yeah.
Does moms, ugh. That's not still a thing, is it?
No, it is. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, it is still around. I don't know of any artist that uses it, but
Well, no artist should, but do they actually still sell that stuff?
probably. I mean, someone on Amazon's going to buy it, right?
True.
Very true.
Do that. I got my first, my very first machine when I was like 18 from an eBay kit. Come a long way.
So I actually, and I can pull it out for you real quick. So my first tattoo machine ever, the first one that I ever owned, I also got from a kit, but I got it from Bickney Tattoo Supply. Let me see if I can find it. I know it's in here somewhere. As I dig through my box of tattoo machines that I never use anymore.
Oh, buddy, I'm gonna find mine. I still have the like little really horrible coil machine from eBay that I got when I was a kid. It's my little memory token from, you know, when I didn't know shit. Gotta remember your roots.
Absolutely. Always remember where you came from. I got this around here somewhere.
I mean, back then I didn't know that buying a kit off of eBay was extremely taboo. I just wanted to get my hand in tattooing as soon as possible and, you know, didn't have an apprenticeship yet.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I have changed my philosophy on a lot of things over the years. And I'm always open to new ideas and new philosophies about different things. And I actually went through and adopted a new philosophy where it's not necessarily the machine that matters. It's the artist wielding it that truly makes the difference.
Here it
You know,
is.
I've seen incredible things done with, jailhouse machines, stunning tattoos,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and I mean, there's incredible artwork coming out there, you know, from prisons and all over the place, you know, so it's not necessarily the machine. It's getting to know your equipment and getting to know your machine and understanding what it's capable of doing, and then utilizing it to its fullest extent.
Oh yeah, definitely. I have, no lie, I have sold a painting for like $300 that was made with a 12-color Crayola palette that I got at the grocery store.
That's awesome.
Dude,
Like
if you just,
that's what I love to
yeah.
hear.
yeah, just, it doesn't matter if the blade is dull, swing the sword, see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once again, it also boils down to another philosophy I have. Anything in life is possible given enough time and patience. Right? You can cut a tree down with a fish, guaranteed. It might take a while and you might have to wait for the tree to rot. You might have to wait for the fish to petrify, but you can cut a tree down with a fish.
Do you sharpen the fish or do you just leave it as is?
Once it's petrified, you can actually get a pretty good edge on it.
So do we have to dry out the fish, or is it
Well,
just
yeah.
floppy
I mean, when
blank
it's
stuff?
petrified, it's solidified. It's like hard as stone. So
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Petrified. Yeah. So wait, you can't do it with a wet fish.
I would not recommend it. I mean, if the tree is dead enough and it's, like dry rotted and all that stuff, you could probably get away as long as the fish was big enough. I think you could get away with it. But
Okay, but we have to have a really brittle tree for the sloppy fish.
or just one that's like dead and decaying, because at that point in time, the wood's going to be so soft that it's going to crumble without any effort. But it takes a while for a tree to get to that point. At least that's my philosophy on it.
It's your philosophy on chopping trees with fish.
Hey, anything is possible if you have enough time and patience. And I brought that analogy up of chopping a tree down with a fish. I got that, believe it or not, from Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail.
Oh, really? I remember. I've never seen that movie sober, though.
Go back and rewatch the second time the knights encounter the knights who say ni. But we are no longer the knights who say ni. We are now the knights who say eki, 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 kaplang, vuboing and rausen me.
You just have the whole thing memorized?
Pretty much, yeah. I think there might be one or two lines that might be off, but the most of it, yes. You must bring us a second shrubbery and chop down the mightiest tree in the woods with a herring. And they hold up a fish, and it's like, okay, it can be done, but it's going to take some time, and you're going to have to be patient. I quote way too much from Monty Python, by the way.
I admire your dedication.
I think you put a unique enough spin on it to make it a little bit different.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, personalized it.
Everyone used to make fun of me a little bit about having these really far out and weird ideas. But once they understood the explanation that I had behind it, they were like, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
See, I get that, except people tell me it still doesn't make sense after I explain it.
I mean, it could be in your explanation. I mean, I always found that, explaining things like you're talking to like a 4-year-old usually helps to convey those ideas. That's just what I've picked up on.
Dude, I tell people all the time when they're explaining anything to me, and just like, do not worry about being offensive. Explain this to me like I'm 5.
Yep. Just like the subreddit. Explain like I'm 5.
That's where I got the idea from. That subreddit. That subreddit is a goldmine of information. I love it so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of great information out there on Reddit on all different types of topics. And it's all community sourced, which is what I like, because you get people that are actually part of whatever it is you're trying to understand, whether it's physics, chemistry, mathematics, engineering. It doesn't matter. They've got a topic in there written by someone that actually does that kind of a job for a living. There's a lot of tattoo artists that I know that go on to Reddit to look up certain information. My big thing is that you always need to fact check. Always, if it's on the internet, you don't know if it's true or not. Fact check it. Do your own homework, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's light fastness of a tattoo pigment. It doesn't matter if it's the efficiency of using a coil machine over a rotary, which I don't believe exists, but I'm a firm believer in rotaries over coils. I'm a promoter of the motor.
I get in arguments with one of my coworkers all the time. I haven't thought of anything to defend rotaries, but she always just ends up screaming at me, I'm loyal to the coil, and promoter of the rotor is a real good one to remember.
Mm-hmm. Promoter of the motor.
Motor, rotor.
Nothing gets more efficient than a pure electric motor.
Dude,
There
I
are
am getting
no variables. It is going to hit consistently every time. It is going to go from origin to 180-degree push down all the way back up to origin every single time. There is no variable there. I mean, there are variables depending on the machine. Like you get some with like mechanical give, or maybe the motor bogs down because the motor's not strong enough, or maybe it's not pulling enough current, so it's not really getting a true rotation. So there are a few minor variables, but all in all, I think part of the reason why people switched from coil machines to rotaries is mostly just because they're efficient.
Mhm.
They are consistent and they are efficient.
I think especially with machines such as like the Numa 4, like you can make rotaries have the same punch as a coil. And here's
You
my scale.
can. My question is, and I brought this up, there you go. Yep, when in doubt, shade a sphere.
Yay.
I was having this debate with someone not too long ago when it came down to amount of force that any given machine exerts versus amount of resistance of skin, and how you only really need X amount of force to have those razor sharp pins penetrate the surface of the skin, right? You don't need a whole lot of force. You do not have to chisel away at a concrete block with that machine, in order to get it to tattoo skin. You don't. You don't need that much power behind it. If you utilize it in the correct way, you can use the shortest stroke out there to do whatever job you need, right? I mean, look at the stroke length on one of those old like magnetic like cassette deck like motors. Those things do not have a 3.5 millimeter stroke, guaranteed. They do not even have a 3 millimeter stroke. Okay, those things are moving at like 2 millimeters all the way around max. And there are guys out there doing incredible work with cassette deck motors. So do you really need that much power?
I'm going to trust you on that because I have a couple of cassette decks and I don't want to take them apart to figure that one out.
Mhm.
Well, at least the last time I took a cassette deck apart, the motors on them and the spindles on them, they weren't turning a whole lot of distance. So, I think a lot of it ends up coming down to feel and comfortableness. A lot of people and a lot of tattoo artists I know go tattoo based on feel and, can they feel the vibration in the skin as they're tattooing? And it's a big thing because you need that type of tactile feedback to understand that you're getting accurate penetration into the skin to a certain depth. I grasp that. But I also know a lot of guys out there that still run coils, but they run their coils so hard and so fast that I swear you could hammer in a 10-penny nail with them. You do not need that much hurt behind the needles that you're putting into skin. You don't. You know, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not looking at things the right way. I'm waiting for someone to come up with a good argument, you know, to convince me that they need that amount of force behind their machine. I have yet to find one. So, you know, I'm more than happy to change my opinion and perspective. I am always open for alternate ways to look at things. I'm always willing to accept other views, and I will be more than happy to change my perspective immediately if someone comes to me with a valid, plausible, sensible argument that is fact-based.
Dude, that
More or less,
drawing,
prove me wrong.
I'm just gonna say, that drawing you're working on, it's tight, man. It's fucking
Thank
tight.
you.
I wonder what Elaine's up to.
Being all secretive with what she's sketching. She's like, I don't want people
No.
to see it.
I don't know how to put my camera to show even what I'm doing because I'm on my computer. So it's just, I'm just like at an awkward angle for this, but I am actually putting together a collage to give myself a reference for my next saw that I'm going to paint. So I'm
Hold it
doing,
up for the class.
what was that?
Do we get
Hold
to
it up
see
for
it?
the
Can you hold
class.
up? Can you hold up your iPad so that we can just get like a little sneak peek?
So this is starting line drawing for, I'm going to do Corey Taylor's masks on a saw. So I'm working on putting it together now. Just getting it all mapped out helps me kind of transfer everything to do it like a tattoo.
Right.
That's gorgeous.
I can't freaking wait. I'm so excited. I think it'll be such a cool thing to have. And I'm planning to give it, my cousin is one of the biggest Slipknot fans ever. So it's a surprise gift for her. I'm really excited.
Could totally do custom lettering on one that says tattoo remover.
Oh yeah.
Although that's probably been done so many times.
I had a client ask me that yesterday. What would you do if someone didn't pay you? I was like, you have to give your limb back, obviously. You can't just leave with the tattoo.
Yeah, that's why we
keep a sawzall in the back, just for that reason.
Oh, I keep a cheese grater. I keep a cheese grater in the back, and we have a debt collector in shop. Other people would call it a baseball bat. We call it the debt collector.
That's a good way to be. I mean, personally, I'd rather just take the whole limb, you know, remove said section of skin after limb has been removed, and then sell the limb to, you know, medical college or, you know, somewhere like that. Yeah, I found a severed limb on the sidewalk. Here you go.
You know what? I would just keep the limb. I gotta have that practice skin, and nothing is
See,
better
I
than the
like
real
the way
stuff.
you think.
Nothing beats the real skin.
So true.
You ever
So-
tried pig skin?
Fake skin is
Pig,
God.
pig.
Pig. Oh, when my mom was learning to be a permanent makeup artist when I was a kid, and she let me tattoo my name on a pig's ear, and it was disgusting.
See, I actually found that it was very, very similar to actual human skin. It was a little bit thicker and tougher to work with, but I found the elasticity was still there, depending on like what section you got. The elasticity was still there. You still had to stretch in order to create the right marks. There were lots of similarities to it.
That's
My-
right. Yeah.
My vegan little heart wants nothing to do with this.
Looks like we just had Dylan join us. Hello, Dylan. Oh, he left. Okay. Maybe he didn't join us. Yeah, I mean, that's where you get into like ethical considerations Because when you deal with people that are vegan, they're completely and totally against cruelty to animals. And I support that. I don't believe in unnecessary harming of any living thing. I don't even, squish spiders if they're coming around. I pick them up and I have like a little dedicated spider cup, and I pick them up and scoop them into the cup, and I take them outside and release them into the freezing cold wild.
I thought that you were going to say that you take them in the cup and you just take a sip and you eat them or drink them.
No, not going to do it.
This
Nope.
is my morning cup of spiders.
That's a hard pass for me. Thanks. I'm good. I have done a lot of really weird things in my life. I've never eaten a spider voluntarily.
Yet.
I don't know that I would ever put myself in a position to eat one either.
Okay, if there was $10,000 in cash in front of you.
Fear factor.
I would need to know the exact species of spider, know that it is not poisonous in any regard. I would need to know the size of said spider. I would need to know if the spider had a family. Okay. Because I don't want to eat like a mama spider with like a whole bunch of baby spiders and then have the baby spiders like grow up in my stomach. That wouldn't be very nice, because then I'd feel terrible because I'm killing a whole spider family.
Okay, it's an orb weaver. Orb weavers are plentiful common garden spiders that lay nests. They don't have babies that hide on their backs.
Orb weavers are so beautiful though.
And that's a thick, not that you should be eating spiders, but that's a thick spider to be biting.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
It's a little juicy. There's a little bit of juice, a little bit of crunch, but you know what? There's also 10,000 freaking dollars in front of you. 10,000.
While we're speaking of this, it's reminding me there was a fear factor where they were eating cave spiders that they have. I'm going to pull up a picture of those.
Are they furry?
No, they're horrendous looking. They're so scary. They have claws and they're really like, I don't even know how to.
Were they dead or alive?
Alive.
Oh my God, no.
So unethical, I understand, but also, let me just show you a picture of these.
You can, so if you pull them up on your computer, you can actually share your screen.
Okay, let's do that. That'll probably be much better quality.
So I'm not one of those hardcore vegans that demands everybody be nice to animals, but like on Fear Factor, if you're eating a living spider, its legs are still moving. Like, I'm not thinking about ethics. I'm thinking about, isn't it trying to fight back inside your mouth?
That's what I would be worried about.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, these are so. Ooh.
You just give it a big crunch.
A big
Yeah, that's
old
where you
crunch.
like bite it in half, so it's 2 bites, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't want it still alive. You don't want one of the halves to be still alive, like in Alien when the robot's all crunched in half. You want you got to get the head off.
Nope. That's a whole
God.
lot of nope.
Yeah, no.
That is a
my God.
whole bunch of nope.
Why are the front legs like that? What does he need those for?
Ew. Oh,
That is
no.
disgusting, but it also gives me inspiration to draw something new.
Oh my goodness.
So wrong in so many ways. Look how big they are too. That's not even like a no.
Why would that guy put it on his face? What a stupid place to put that thing.
Oh yeah. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's just a nope. That's what I call a nope spider because I want nothing to do with it.
Okay, but $10,000. Do you know how much tattoo supplies you can buy with $10,000?
I would consider it for 25.
You could have a lifetime subscription to Reinventing.
Like I said, I would consider it for 25.
Do you know how many strippers can give you a lap dance for $10,000?
All right, I'd consider it for 10. That's a very valid point. I could have a blast with 10 grand.
Or you could just get one really good stripper.
That's what I'm thinking. It's still up for debate and consideration. 25 and we're talking more realistic like, possibilities. But 10 seems a little bit low for me. And this is coming from someone that did a lot of really dumb stuff in college. So like, and I did that dumb stuff for free. So it's not like, I was even getting paid for it.
Oh, I'm still doing dumb stuff for free. Every day. I can't stop thinking about those claws.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, Elaine, for giving us all nightmares. Much appreciated. Thanks.
You are welcome. That is what I'm here for. Especially because
I should totally turn one of those into a piece of flash. That would make
really
a great design.
That would be
For sure.
Give it to Elaine as a tattoo next time y'all see each other.
I will get that tattoo. I'm down.
I'll hold you to that.
I will do it. It has to be realism though. Got to be a challenge.
God damn it. Really? Trying to make me get outside my comfort zone and stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's got to have at least one human hand too.
I like it. Maybe
Like a human hand holding a cave spider, like coming at you.
Ooh,
That's your choice. It could be that, or the spider could just have a human hand.
No, wait. The
No.
spider coming out of a mouth. The spider coming out of a mouth.
Oh, that's
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
creepy. That would be.
I'm all about it. The
I'd pay
creepier
for
the
it.
better.
Yeah,
That would be
okay.
creepy.
So when you guys are doing that tattoo, I will make sure to be observing from the corner while loudly crunching on Fritos.
We'll have to play the Fear Factor episode in the back just so we can all be uncomfortable the whole time. I think that would be the best way to have a creepy tattoo done.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure this is going to become like a requirement where like the three of us never actually get together, because I don't think any good could ever come of it.
I'm going to push for a meeting as soon as possible. Just so you guys know, February 4th was my birthday. So this is what I want for my
Happy
birthday.
birthday. Wait, I have to do something now.
Oh, I'm just saying, I just want to sit in the corner for my birthday. I want to sit in the corner and eat Fritos while you tattoo Elaine.
I haven't been tattooed in almost 3 years. Isn't that messed up? That's wrong.
That is so wrong. Oh my goodness. Where are you located?
Michigan.
Michigan. Okay. Am I the only West Coast? Wait, no, Kyle's West Coast, right?
For now, yes.
I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. It's very, very quiet.
What's happening?
Closer to the mic.
Yeah. Not happening then.
I heard a couple dings.
Yeah, it's a little like music thing that plays happy birthday.
Oh, then you gotta sing it. We gotta sing happy
Wait.
birthday.
Hold on. I gotta try to. I can't enlarge your thing because I don't know how to work the fucking Zoom. Anyways, was that a little music box?
Came out of a
Thing?
music box, yes.
Oh, sweet. I collect those. I have a whole collection of like vintage music boxes and music box parts, movements.
That's really cool. That's a very unique collection.
Yeah, I was a hopeless romantic in my teen years and still am.
Love that.
But yeah, okay, so Fritos, cave spiders coming out of a mouth, tattoo.
They're called nope spiders.
Nope spiders.
Yes.
Nope spite. Okay, well, I am prefer to see the design. Oh, we
There
hear
you
it.
go. Aw,
Ah, I
happy
love it.
birthday.
Thank you. Now let me watch you get tattooed.
Yep. Sounds good. got tons of space to get tattooed. I just have been neglecting doing it.
Where are you gonna put your new cave spider, buddy?
Probably anywhere on my leg, honestly. I have way too much open space. Way too much. I have just my sleeve, and then I got like some larger pieces on my leg, but I got my whole knee, back of the thigh, back of the calf. All the good spots are still open.
Hell, if you're down, I'll get a matching cave spider coming out of a mouth from Jason tattoo with you.
Oh my God, yes.
All right, so we're gonna have to organize this and then live stream the whole thing.
Yep, that sounds fun.
I mean, we're gonna have to hang out, and I'm actually gonna be working the whole time. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing I would rather do than tattoo, but
I need a vacation, so send me out to the East Coast anytime. Tupac's visiting.
we could, you know what we could do? We could all meet up in San Francisco with Haley Adams from Castro Tattoos. Who, by the way, is a sick artist. If you don't know Haley Adams, you need to know who Haley Adams is. We should all meet up in San Francisco with Haley Adams. I can go out there, do a guest spot with her, and we can all like hang out, have fun, get tattoos. It could be an absolutely awesome time.
That sounds.
I am so down to go see Haley Adams and visit Castro. I have been wanting to since I met her at a BYOB, and yeah, that sounds amazing.
And then we can combine this and we can do a live drunk critique.
There you go. That sounds like a fun time.
That sounds amazing. I personally don't drink anymore, but I have tons of weed and maybe mushrooms.
There you go.
That's a party.
And by mushrooms, she means shiitake mushrooms. We don't do illegal drugs on this show.
I'm blessed to be in Oregon where basically everything's legal.
Ah, fair enough.
Here's a random question for you guys. Do you tell like random people when you're out and about in public that you do tattoos? Like
sometimes.
I just started leasing a vehicle for the first time, and I just got a text message from the guy that I got it from at the dealership, and he's like, "Hey, I remember you saying that you're a tattoo artist, and now I want all my old tattoos redone." Like, does that just happen all the time? Do you guys deal with that?
Yes, as someone who's not a tattoo artist yet, I get people constantly trying to hit me up when I say, yeah, I'm trying to be a tattoo artist, and then they never commit to anything.
Yep.
I only bring it up if somebody like comments on my tattoos. I'll be like, yeah, I got this done by so-and-so at that shop. I'm also a tattooist. Here's my card.
Okay.
As far as follow through goes, I've gotten a couple of customers through it. I've gotten more followers like on Instagram and people supporting art, my art in general. Like, even if they aren't gonna end up getting a tattoo, sometimes they'll follow my Instagram, which is just, the free way to support an artist and all of that. So it always kind of ends up going somewhere.
That's great. It always cracks me up too if I'm like out at a bar, for example, and someone somehow asks or finds out, and then all of a sudden all their clothes are coming off and they're like, "Oh, look at my tattoo." Their shirt's off, their pants are off, they're trying to show me a tattoo on their thigh. And you're just like, "Whoa, dude." That's so cool, but also
inappropriate. Yeah,
this is not it.
I specifically make a rule to not talk about my job or mention that I'm a tattooist after 10 p.m. in public places because of that.
That's a solid move.
So being in bars is the one place that I refuse to mention it. And I've actually had to stop going to certain bars because people knew what I did for a living. And that's all they would ever talk to me about. Yeah. And it's like, yo, I'm not, if you want to get tattooed, cool, come by the studio, we'll set something up. But like, I'm just here to like grab a drink and like zone out for a while. and
Yes.
decompress and like just chill for a little bit. I'm not trying to, really talk business right now. Mostly because when you're out at a bar, the chances of people actually following through and getting a tattoo done by you that, when they met you that evening after they've had unknown amounts of alcohol, pretty slim.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, I don't even entertain that anymore. It's like, if you want to get tattooed, come by the studio.
Well,
We can talk about different stuff, but I'm not trying to discuss this with you at this point.
exactly.
I mean, that's where
Always. Just
sorry.
sorry. You go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, that's where firm boundaries set in and stuff. Like, I'll hand somebody my card and be like, if you're interested, you could check out my website where the booking form is. Here's my Instagram for following. If you need to contact me, email or going through my website is the only way I'll talk about this. But right now I'm out with my friends. So like, I hope to see you at the shop soon. I'm gonna get back to my conversation. It was nice to meet you. Bye. Firm boundaries.
Absolutely.
Boundaries? What are those? I know not of what you speak. I just avoid places in general. Then again, I also don't really go out anymore, so.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Not with the whole panorama or panini pandemic going on.
Oh, Ebola?
Oh yeah, that thing. What is it? Mommycron is the latest news.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there's a bar right next to my shop, which I go to after work sometimes. Here in Oregon, basically every bar has CBD sodas, which I'm in love with, like low calories and some flavor, and it's better than a soda water, especially if you're not drinking. And just have one of those or two, mingle with the staff who are the sober people at the bar. And I've actually gotten a lot of the staff people to come over, and like the pizza shop on the other side, I've tattooed those guys by, going out after work and associating with the other businesses on the block, but not so much the drunk patrons.
Very smart.
It's a good way to be. And that's a good methodology too, because then you're dealing with people that are sober and thinking in a sober mindset. And they're not just kind of like talking out of their ass. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all for talking out of your ass. I do it all the time. And I do it completely sober. So I have no issues with that. But when it comes down to like business and actually taking business seriously, I'm not, if anyone's even had more than one drink that I've witnessed, nope. Not talking to you about it. There are some times, and I mean, I like to talk about tattoos all the time. I do. It's what I've spent the better part of my life studying. So it's something that is so ingrained into who I am that I love every aspect behind it. But there are some times when I just want to take a break from talking about it and just like go and mentally zone out for a while and discuss different things like, graphic art and design or paintings or, working with AV stuff. I don't want to talk about tattoos right then. It's like, yeah, I've got some fun stuff coming up. Yeah, I get it. You want to come in for that back piece that you've always wanted, but you could never afford. And you still can't afford, so why are we even entertaining the idea? It's like, sometimes you just have to be realistic about that stuff.
Oh my God, that reminds me. There is an artist in Olympia, Washington that I need to go apologize to because I wasted so much of their time in my early 20s when I was a drunk idiot at the bar.
It happens.
Yep, happens to the best of us.
So like looking back and like when I didn't know what it was like to be a professional artist, being that guy, I've been that guy. Shit. I have a little bit of empathy though for like the drunk people coming up in bars because, you know, like I do remember being the drunk person coming up to the tattooist in the bar and wasting their time. Like they're so carried away in the enthusiasm. I mean, like I appreciate their enthusiasm and their interest in the art. It's more of a, yeah, dude, cool. Do you want to talk about it after you've had some coffee?
Mm-hmm. I think the most common question I get asked by a drunk person is always just how much? How much would this be? How much for this? And it's
Ooh,
like,
I get
ooh, I've got something for everyone. I was trolling one of the Facebook groups that I'm a part of that deals with tattoos. And I came across these last night and thought they were absolutely hysterical. Have you guys ever heard of tattoo bingo?
yes. Is it the basic bingo where there's like the infinity symbol or the, you know?
No. These are a little bit different. These are like client sayings.
Oh yeah.
I'll share with you guys real quick. Keep in mind, I cannot take credit for these. These are not mine. Just putting that out there. Take a look at this. That gun is so quiet. What spot hurts the most? Let's just fill it with clouds. Who does your tattoos? Maybe we can add a little bit of color?
oh my God.
You
I
must
don't
be really good at
understand.
drawing.
I don't understand the trees fucking trees. I've never heard.
Here's another one.
I need these images. I'm gonna print them out and bring them to my shop
Do you-
today when I go to work.
How much for
Do
sleep?
you watch Ink Master? Do you do 3D tattoos? It's my birthday. Can we just like tie it all together with shading?
Oh my God.
Did you do your own tattoos? Can my friend watch?
Oh.
Yeah, let's see what's on the next one. Has anyone ever passed out? See, because I did these by myself.
Pass us out.
Upside down so I can read it.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Good. I did 4 infinity symbols in one day the other week. 4 different walk-ins.
Oh my goodness.
All infinity symbols, one of which wanted an anchor in the infinity symbol, as well as a music note, 7 hearts, and the word love cursively written in. It was my golden day as a beginner tattooer. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been training for.
Absolutely.
Like, this is how we pay rent.
The Infinity Olympics. Somehow it never ends, right? It goes on infinitely.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to train myself to not like sigh with hatred when those walk-ins come in. I'm trying to like maintain the mentality. This is line work practice. This is my chance to pay rent. It's the slow season, and I appreciate this customer for letting me continue to do my art, even if it's an image that I don't personally care about.
Oh yeah, and you're making that person so happy, and more than anything, that's so worth it. Doesn't even matter what it is.
Well, oh my God, is it so hard for me not to scream? Why doesn't anybody around here want any art?
Well, that's part of what we're all working towards, in my opinion, is getting our art to that point that we start to get people that are like, oh my God, I absolutely love the work that you do. I'll be happy to fly to you from Australia or New Zealand or Japan. I just want to, I love what you do. Let me get something done by you. I think that's the ultimate goal for every tattoo artist out there, is to have that kind of a demand, so that way we can perpetually stay busy.
Yep.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe that's just my dream, but I don't know. I think it's a good goal to have.
Oh yeah.
I think my goal in life is to make enough money to be able to pay a year's worth of rent and then just take a year-long nap.
Yes.
That would be glorious.
There's a nap for that.
Oh, can I get that nap in the Apple App Store?
The Napple App Store. The Napple Nap Store.
Great nap app.
Naps are wonderful things.
You can listen to calming waves and rainforest sounds in Napster.
You mean death metal?
That's the rainforest. Yeah, that's the Norwegian rainforest we're looking for.
Exactly.
One and the same.
Is it weird that I treat my paintings like tattoos?
No, I think that is a sign of crap, never mind. I can't speak.
You know, do the thing with the words and the mouth.
I think that's a sign of organization. You have a method and you're practicing your method. If it works for you, then I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah. I know I'm a very analytical person and I'm a very process oriented person. So like I'll create an image, right? Like this, you know, that I'm working on. And if I wanted to turn around and do it as a painting, I actually draw all the line work. I get all my shapes together and I draw those shapes out and get everything, you know, set and ready to go. And then I'll take that, print that out and transfer it onto whatever surface. But it does take away some of the organic quality of creating a painting. But I'm oddly okay with that.
I'm admiring your realistic shaped fingernails. I can never get that down.
Yeah, they're not easy, but once you get the hang of them, you can start to plan it out. So I always take the first joint, right? If I'm drawing fingernails, I'll take the first joint, divide it in half, and I automatically know that that's where the furthest back the cuticle will land.
Oh my goodness.
Okay?
What was that? How was that?
So the first joint on the finger,
Yeah.
right? No matter which finger it is, that first little joint where your fingernail is, the cuticle, the farthest back your nail will go is halfway to that first knuckle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. It helps
right.
keep your proportions in line. And I mean, people cut their nails to different lengths and have, you know, different length stuff. So they may look oddly misproportionate, but typically speaking, if you divide that first digit, the tip of your finger, no matter which finger it is, and you look at the distance between the tip of the actual finger and that first knuckle, that fingernail will go back about halfway.
Wow. Yeah. Excellent, man. Yeah.
Now,
Thanks.
where it gets really tricky is when you're dealing with fingers at a perspective like this guy, right? Because not only are you dealing with a side rotation, but you're also dealing with a perspective, so you know it gets smaller as it moves back, right? And it's also at just a slight angle this way. So it's kind of hard to judge that halfway point, especially when you're looking at the distance from the tip of the finger to the tip of the fingernail, right? And how long you want those fingernails to be. So like what I would actually end up doing is going through, and what I should do is trim this fingernail back so it's not quite as long.
Yeah, that's good advice, man.
It's little things like that that can make a world of difference when it comes down to proportions. And it took me a long time to figure that out and just analyze stuff and break things down and say, okay, if this is here and this is here, how can I judge if this is the right proportion? Maybe I'll cut it back a little bit more and give it a little bit more of an angle on each side. This doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be done as a painting anyway, so I'm just trying to get like an approximate value for it, an approximate shape. That looks like it would be a lot more proportionate. But yeah, it's just a little thing that I've picked up over time as far as like drawing fingernails.
Thank you for the advice and the helpful tips.
You're very welcome. I still struggle with lips and eyes and those proportions mostly. Just because those are on the face and those are the two most prominent focal points on any human face that people look at. So if you can get the eyes right and you can get the mouth right, everything else just kind of fades into the background and it's not really going to be focused on. And if I remember correctly, I remember talking to Shane O'Neill many, many years ago, and he said that that's where he puts 90% of all of the detail in his face, because those are going to be the most prominent parts of it, and that's what people are going to look at the most. So he'll put his brightest white highlights and like reflection off of a lip and, you know, little glints in the eyes, and then everything else doesn't really matter. Because the second you have that super dark contrast and that super bright white highlight, that area automatically becomes your primary focal point, right? It's going to have the highest range of contrast, and especially those pure white bright highlights. That's immediately what everyone is going to look at. So if that's where they're looking, they're not looking at, well, maybe this side of the nostril is going to be a little bit bigger than this side of the nostril, right? And as long as it's not grossly misproportionate, no one's even going to notice. And I do hate to do this, guys, but I will be, I do have to go in a little bit. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing a little bit of remodeling at the studio later. So where's my hairbrush? I've got too many brushes on this iPad. And I've got some that are specifically for hair, and I have no idea where. There we go. Yeah, just to give you guys an idea of my brush collection in Procreate, this is the bottom of my brushes.
That is overwhelming.
These are all
Just a
brush
couple.
sets. Each one of them's got different like stamps or different tools to use. I've got some that are like pure Japanese stuff. Dave Tevenall put out a couple of custom sets. His are called Dojo Weapons, but he also has things like spots, right? Spot brushes. Those come in real handy sometimes. He's got different like flame concepts. So this is what he uses to actually draw everything. These can come in real handy for different different things like background shading, doing like sketchy lines, spray splashes, different textures. Let's see. This one creates almost like a watercolor texture. I'll use these a lot for backgrounds, or like smudges, like grainy smudges and stuff like that, just to get a little bit of texture so that it doesn't look like it's, completely digital, even though it is. But different sketch pencils and like liners and stuff like that. I've got BJ Betts in here, which is pretty cool. He's got different lettering guides and
Oh, I have that one.
brush pens and different types of tip shapes. I've got one that's called Black Letter for drawing like black letter, like calligraphy fonts. Some are definitely better than others. Like this guy's pretty cool. Turn the opacity down a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. If you wanted to do like Old English. I'm not very good with lettering, by the way, so bear with me here. But they're really cool. They've got some different effects. I've got some stamp brushes. Watches and compasses, by the way, will save you fucking hours.
Oh, I've used that one and it is so helpful. It literally has saved, several hours. Yep.
Then liners and mags, which is one of the first needle sets put out by Tattoo Smart. And it's pretty cool. And I was talking to Russ about it, and I was asking him, like, well, okay, if you adjust the spacing, is that kind of like adjusting the speed at which the machine hits? And he's like, yeah, that's actually exactly what it would do. So if I was doing this using my whip shader and I turn the spacing down, it's going to make it so that it's almost like that machine is running at a much faster pace. So you can really get some nice whips in there and just fade things out. The only reason why I don't use these in like any of the digital art I create is because it does create a whole bunch of just random dots. So to create a smooth gradient, you would really have to go through and either change the opacity of it so that way you can, basically like using a light wash, to smooth everything out after the fact. But it does mimic doing a tattoo in a pretty similar way. The needle set was the second version that they came out with. And they've got things like soft edge mags and, all different types of stuff. Special effects was absolutely worth its money. It's got like blunt smoke, so you can draw smoke super easy. Just to give you guys a quick little demo of blunt smoke. I have edited it a little bit. And it's pressure sensitive, so kind of the harder you press, the lighter it becomes. But it just allows you to draw like smoke and flames super easy. So,
Oh, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, there's all types of different tools out there from different companies. I try to stay away from using any of the stamp sets unless it's for inspirational purposes. And I've got lots of them. I usually go for more of the tool sets, like Serpents is cool because it gives you basic scales, but it also gives you like body layouts. So if you're drawing a snake, you have like the underbelly lines, you have a dotted line for the center line on the back ridge. And it'll rotate it as you go through and just move your pen around, but it makes it really easy to follow a basic body shape of a snake. which you can also use to mimic a dragon body or whatever else you want. So just food for thought. I've got a whole bunch of stamp brushes that I almost never use, but some of them are good for influence, like girl heads, old school lady heads, and pinup heads.
I am a big fan of the minimalist stamp set that has all of the stamps are like girls' names, and it's basically just the very basic walk-in sheet done for you.
Not sure I'm familiar with that one.
Oh,
I mean, I've
it's
got a lot of other ones that are kind of like that. I think, like Street Shop has like a lot of the very basic, like compass rose. There's a crescent moon, Gothic cross, dotted lines, birds, infinity knots, nautical stars, little simple flower shapes, more birds. Those like tribal suns that everyone used to do.
oh yeah, that's a bit more extensive than the one I'm talking about. One I'm
Yeah.
talking about is very, very basic. Like it's got your infinity symbol, your heart monitor that turns into a heart shape
Yep.
thing, and all of that. You know, just the most basic Pinterest walk-ins right there. Just click away.
Yeah, they came out with a second version of Street Shop as well, which is, I think, a little bit more in line with what you're talking about. It's got like the anchor, diamonds, hearts, circles, feathers, simple
Yeah,
flowers, music notes, paw prints, simple skull references, little sparrows.
yeah. And that knocks out all that easy stuff that you've already drawn a bunch of times, and get those walk-ins in and out. So you can have more time to draw, your other things like your Art Nouveau ladyhead, which is
Mhm.
coming along lovely. I think I am done with this Lost Boys piece. Oh wait, no, white highlights.
Always tint your background and add your white highlights.
Hint,
Well, your
hint my
background's already pretty dark, so.
yeah. Oh, okay. White highlights. That's what I was almost forgot, the white highlights.
How can you forget white highlights?
Yeah, I don't know. Amateur hour over here.
Nah, never. How did my hairbrushes get into spray paints? I love these hairbrushes, by the way. I think you can get them for free as like a download on the Procreate community. But they make drawing hair super easy.
Oh, and I just purchased the Mastering Realism book. Thank you for the suggestion.
Highly recommend it. It just breaks things down super easily.
Hell yeah.
That's the one I'm looking for.
All right, friends. Unfortunately, I do have to get going, but
Yep, me too.
I'm
Why don't we go through and do a couple of quick sign-offs? I'll spotlight you guys one at a time. Elaine, you brought it up, so you go first. Just tell us where we can reach you, how we can get a hold of you if we're trying to get tattooed. And yeah,
awesome.
go ahead.
Yep. So you can find me on Instagram at Elaine Narowski Art. You can also go through my booking website, ElaineNarowskiArt.com, for booking information and sending in submissions. That is the best way to contact me for getting tattooed. And my books open periodically. It's always announced on my website, though. So best way to do it.
Does this mean I can spam you with like all of these weird requests? Like, I want like a deadly spider crawling out of a mouth on my throat.
Yes, you definitely could.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. A lot of great information. I always get really, really awesome tips, advice, and things from being a part of these. So couldn't be happier.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on. Hopefully we get you back on again another Sunday.
Absolutely.
You know, it's always awesome having you on. We always have great conversations. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for talking, everyone. Bye.
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 Medusa, I'm going to spotlight you. Go ahead and tell us how we can reach you.
Hi, I wrote it down. You can reach me on Instagram at Medusa Slays with 3 S's, like a snake, and my website medusaslays.com.
Awesome.
This is what I have been working on.
Sick.
Nice.
Starting with the white highlights. Very excited about it because I actually started this a long time ago and then rage quit part of the way through when I was working on the hair because hair is difficult.
Yep.
But I just picked it up again and now I'm finishing it. I am looking forward to coming back to all these videos on this new platform. I'm still trying to figure out the new platform. I got a little busy with other things in life, so I had a little break from reinventing, but I'm so excited to be back and start attending Zooms again.
Well, it's always a pleasure to have you on. We always have great conversations, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Anytime. And Kyle, we'll go with you next.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram, Skies of Fire Tattoo, or my website, skiesofiretattoo.com. I'm not currently doing tattooing, but I've got plenty of art and prints and stuff that I do sell as well. And thanks to Jason just for always having these available.
Anytime. Thank you very much for jumping in and joining us today, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it was great to come in.
Awesome. And Gerardo, we'll spotlight you for everyone.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Romero Art Tattoo. And it was a great pleasure being here with you guys. It was fun. And maybe I'll see you on Monday, Jason.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'm going to do my best to make it on Monday night. I always try to, jump in and say hi at least for a little bit. Even if I don't join the Zoom, like I'll probably be tuning in to watch anyway. So thank you very much for jumping in. Always great to have you on as well. And you're always welcome here, to share in our discussions, man. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. It was a pleasure too, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go through and spotlight myself. My name is Jason Leeser. I host these, Sunday afternoon drawing groups every Sunday at 1 p.m. Thank you all if you're still watching, thank you for joining us. We always like to have different discussions with different artists. If at any point in time you wish to jump on these and maybe share some of your thoughts, maybe start a discussion, please, by all means, you can either drop me a DM, where is it? Right here on Instagram at Philly Inc. Or you can hit me up on the Reinventing the Tattoo platform. My name is Jason Leeser. You can see it kind of down here, right here. Just do a search for me there on the Reinventing the Tattoo platform. I'll be happy to send you a message back and discuss whatever you want. Thank you all for joining us and for watching. It's always a pleasure having everyone on. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to Guy Aitchison. We wouldn't be here without you, so we can't thank you enough. Otherwise, everyone, thank you very much. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Bye.